meeting to order, but I'd like to recognize Ms. Eunice Moore. I think she had a couple of words she wanted to speak to us about initially.
Where do you want me to stand, right here?
Wherever you can go, right here or right there is fine.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. I don't heard Butler Island invited you to the coalition meetings that we've been having for Butler Island. Situation 906 that most of us know about. We're having listening sessions Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I would appreciate it if he didn't give you all an invitation to be a part of the listening sessions. And David Butler will be here maybe all of those nights or just one. But I would appreciate it if all of you from that department, attorneys, all that have something to do with it, secretary, all, and anyone else who's interested to be a part of the listening session. This is for McIntosh County, not just Darien. And as a grassroots descendant of the enslaved people, I would very much appreciate that. If you have not had an invitation, now I'm giving you one. And I don't know why we didn't have one before. I'm not the spearhead, but just by being to some of the meetings, I noticed that you weren't there. And that's why I'm giving you that invitation now. Thank you.
What were the dates?
And it's open to all citizens.
Ms. Moore, will you tell us the dates again? This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Yes. And if you need me to, I'll try and get that information to your office so that you can distribute it.
Yes, ma'am, that'll be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin our meeting. I'm sure that all of us have taken a look at our agenda for tomorrow evening. We can take a quick look at it. Nothing unusual. Roll calls, approving the agenda, the minutes of the October 19th and previous sessions. We do have, I believe, Ms. Gladys Miller Dunham is here. We thought we would be here tomorrow at our regular session. However, you're certainly welcome just to speak right now and give us some insight as to how we may help.
Good evening. My name is Gladys Moore Dunham, and I'm from the Lonely area. And my request was to see if you all would take into consideration putting a track behind our senior citizen buildings. As you know, the highways are getting a little bit busier and it's dangerous to walk on the side of the road. And a lot of people are not getting out of their houses, getting fresh air and exercise. And I think that that would be a good thing for our community to have a track in the Lonely area.
Thank you.
You are.
We appreciate that.
I
Any comments from anyone regarding her?
just wanted to ask Patrick to let them know what our plans are out in Bologna.
I'll do that if you don't mind, Mr. Vice Chairman. We do have plans for that. We've had a lot of cases where citizens have requested that. It is in the works. We are at pre-planning stages of that. We are still waiting for funding, but we are searching for grant funding for that project. So it is in the works, and it just takes just a little bit more time.
And may I add, I did speak with Commissioner Watson. He was so kind to call me back. What I did was when I mailed it, I also emailed a copy of the request. And he did tell me the plans that you all had it in works. And I've already seen the pavement, so it looks really nice and along.
Yes, ma'am. I see you live on Quarterman.
I do.
That's very nice.
Yeah. We love it. We love it. Thank y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, that does it with the district presentations. Public hearing, we will have none. Old business, none. New business, consider appointment to McIntosh County Historic Preservation Commission. Mr. Manager, would you look at that?
Yes, sir. We currently have one opening on that board. It's for the unexpired term of Mr. William Hodges, who resigned. He has a desire to serve on another board, so he went ahead and resigned on that one. We currently have two applications, and it is for the unexpired term. So it will expire on December 31st, 2020.
Any comments?
What board did he go to? Is he?
He's not on one currently, but he's going to apply for one that comes up in January. Was what he told me in an email.
Another kind of board?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that, I mean, I know there's no penalty for that, but is that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, this appointment will be an action item for tomorrow, so if you would review the applications, if you have them already, so we'll be ready to vote on that tomorrow. Item number 2 is consider resolution extending state of emergency for COVID-19. Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir. This is the same resolution we've passed for the last 6 months or so. All it does is extend our state of emergency for another 30 days once the expiration of 2020-20 expires.
And that's for FEMA resolution.
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay, item number 3. This is the first reading. It's the amendment of McIntosh County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, County Animal Control Ordinance. Can you explain that, President?
Yes, sir. Ms. Mariana Hayden, our Animal Control Director, calls for our attention to address some of the violations that were in our old ordinance. So you can see 2 of those violations on line 173 through 178. And the first one is it shall be a violation of this ordinance to fail to keep a female dog while in estrus or in heat or in season, confined in a manner which can be reasonably expected to keep away or not attract male dogs. The next one is it shall be a violation of this ordinance to allow any animal to excessively produce disturbing noises.
Before you turn, can I get someone to explain to me? I understand what it's saying. Let me, are they saying that if you cannot prevent your dog from getting pregnant?
They have to keep it contained where a stray doesn't come off the streets and jump in the fence with it, or the female dog just be in the yard where it can be bred. I mean, you can breed your dog to another dog, but you can't allow your female dog to be in heat and just run around the yard.
Okay, let me see if this is what that is saying.
This will be, obviously is the first reading of this amendment. There will be no action taken tomorrow. Item number 4, amendment of McIntosh Ordinance Chapter 2
Mr. Vice Chair.
and that was for,
We weren't done yet.
pardon?
I don't think we were done yet
Okay.
with number 3.
I might go a little slow, but that's not the reading. That's not my interpretation of what I'm reading. And I just want to make sure it's worded correctly. I'm reading, it's a violation. I'm reading it as saying it's a violation to stop. A violation to keep a female dog when in heat, confined in a manner. So if I lock my dog up in heat to stop another dog from coming in, seems like I'm in violation.
If you don't keep it confined.
But I know that's what you're saying. I'm not sure if that's what it's saying. So I just need somebody to help me with that.
It's your turn.
Commissioner, we'll be glad to review the wording. I haven't spent a lot of time with the wording in this particular one. I didn't write it, but I'll be glad to review that and let you know something tomorrow night.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We got one more change to it. The other change, the other addition to this ordinance was on line number 582, and that's under cruelty to animals, and it just reads, leave an animal unattended in a parked vehicle without proper ventilation such that will prevent the animal from suffering physical distress from dangerous temperatures, lack of food, and lack of water.
And I'd like for you to look at that wording as well.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments on item 3?
With the new ordinance or the updating of the ordinance, what will the fines change? What will the protocol?
The fines remain the same, up to $1,000 fine per day.
Okay, is that sufficient for tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Sir.
Okay, item 4, consider renewal of McIntosh County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 1, the boards, commissions, authorities, and advisory committees appointment policy. Will you please explain that?
Yes, sir. After last month's meeting, we had some questions on what boards this ordinance actually applied to. So I went in and added the boards that I thought necessary. You all can always add some of those things on the way. But those boards are found in 946 through 57, and that would be the McIntosh County Industrial Development Authority, the McIntosh County Board of Health, McIntosh County Board of Assessors, McIntosh County DPAC Board, McIntosh County Zoning Board, McIntosh County Zoning Appeals Board, McIntosh County Recreation Board, McIntosh County Historic Preservation Commission, Ida Hilton Library Board of Trustees, Wiregrass 911 Board, and the Coastal Regional Commission non-public appointment.
Any questions from the committee?
Yes, is there written somewhere the terms for these various boards, as in how many years each board is and how many consecutive terms they can?
Yes, sir. They're either defined by state law or our local ordinances.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That was my question earlier about the one resigning to join another board. My question kind of had to do with terms, because I was wondering if and I guess if it's written locally, so all of our local boards, if they're not by state law decided upon as far as terms, locally, did we look at them to see, I mean, I hate to see somebody resign from a board to go to another board, and then we have to fill,
Right.
you know what I mean? Are they kind of lined up where there would be 3 vacancies on one at the same time, so there's somebody, no?
We have staggered boards within the same board, but as far as boards all together, there's no rhyme or reason.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ms. Carmack, any questions?
No, sir.
Good. All right, the next 3 items are regarding rezoning of 3 different properties. Number 1 is the application for rezoning 5 acres by Doyle and William Jack Hoyt. You have information in the back of your packet regarding planning and zoning information, so if you have not read that, please take a look at it very closely. That is an action item. We will be voting on that tomorrow evening. The 6th item is application for rezoning acres by Gregory Harrington, located at 3358 Georgia Highway 99. That's also an action item. There's also information in your packet. And I think we have some representatives representing the Harringtons, and also we have some other guests. So I think you've asked you to speak. And if the representative from the Harrington would like to address us, that's fine.
Good evening, Honorable Commission. My name is Gregory Harrington. It's my wife, Maylee, and my sister, Doris. We recently purchased the property in question several months ago, but we did it from the state of California. We just retired and moved here, me and my whole family, and we purchased the property there. And I think that one of the bigger issues that we did see is purchasing property from another state and entrusting in there. So some parts of the property too, there were items and issues that came aboard that we weren't aware of. And to myself, to being in government, I just retired as a city manager in California, as well as chief of police in California. So I did 26 years of law enforcement, and my sister did 15. The important thing is for us, we were raised in our family and we were raised in our jobs and career to always follow the rules, guidelines, and ordinances, different things that we have to abide by. So what we did is when we initially put in, unfamiliar and unaware of the CCRs for Crescent Farms, we put in to have our property separate because she wants to build her retirement home and I'm going to build my retirement home on the same properties. And until we did submit to first to go from AF, from forestry to residential in our zoning. We sat there to do that in order to initially go ahead and try and subdivide so that we can build a second house. Now too, after becoming fully aware and doing our homework and our research with the county offices and with our attorney and everything else and looking at some of the CCNR language and things with it, we are now forced with a dilemma where we have to go a different route, which is okay by us. We're okay with going that route. So we join in with our neighbors and the ones that were in opposition at our zoning meeting too, which, you know, it kind of threw us off guard. We are aware and we no longer have the intentions now to subdivide our property because we can't. And we're held and we're bound by our CCNRs there, or the covenants that we are now aware. But we still do pray that the council do, and in that too, we had, the council voted, I think, to decline it at that time. We are now asking the council to reverse that, to still go from AF to AR without subdivision. It's just that we want to reap the benefits of AR for our family and for our property and the things that we want to do out there. So no longer subdividing is not an issue with it. All we want to do is go
So
from
your intent now is one structure
Yes, it's going to be one structure.
and rule of two.
Correct.
Would he then have to go back first before we can entertain that question?
Was it one structure or just not subdividing the parcel?
The issue was not subdividing the parcel.
So you still want two residences?
No,
on one
we
parcel?
we're dealing with one and following the guidelines of our CCNR.
Commissioner, in response to your question, the only application that's before us, and the only application that has been before us, is to change the zoning. There is no subdivision issue at this time. It's to change the zoning from AF to AR. Now, the difficulty comes in, and you need to be aware of this fact, is that when you rezone it to AR, it will allow smaller parcels than the AF would allow. Suggesting, of course, that a subdivision of that parcel may be possible. So, be aware.
But it is our intention to follow our guidelines and our CCNR, which the county does not recognize. We're aware of that, but we'll abide by it and do what we have to with our CCNRs. So we want the council to know that that's where we are. We just want, again, to go from AF to AR to take advantage of the benefits under AR. But there will not be subdividing.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you guys for
I
the
do have a
opportunity.
question, but I'll wait till you finish all the zoning, because it's a general question that deals with all of the zoning issues.
All right.
No question for me, Mr.
Correct.
Thank you. Any comment from any of the members? Yes.
Do I need to come down?
Or you can just speak up.
My name's Melissa Toller. I live at 2850 Colonial Coast in Crescent Farms. We just wanted to be here to oppose voting for the AR because legally he would not need AR to build one house on 8 acres. The dimensions of his property did fall into the agricultural forestry to build one household. So we just wanted to be here to make that point.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Lloyd Toller. The only reason we don't want the AR, he has road frontage. We don't have a problem with what he's trying to do, but it may snowball downhill on the interior lots. If he gets an AR, and somebody that's got 20 acres wants an AR, then he can go to subdividing his property. We got dirt roads out there, and I'm sure the whole county's aware of it. We got as much traffic on right now as we can stand. So if you go to subdividing his property, it's only fair if Mr. Harrington gets an AR. If I want an AR, I'm gonna get one too. I'm gonna start subdividing my property. But nobody in the subdivision wants it, and it's in the covenants that it cannot ever be subdivided.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I don't think that that's the particular issue that we're addressing here. We're talking about only zoning. So if someone wants to subdivide, then that would be something that would be addressed by a different council at that time. Right now, we're talking about rezoning. We're not talking about subdividing, as he's already indicated. residential. So that's not what we're doing here, right now. Right now, we're talking about zoning. And all subdivision.
And also too, or proceed, but also, we were talking, as the gentleman just said too, he talked about an issue with the roads. I concur with them, their road is pretty bad, but with our property, we have our own road. We're off of 99, so the road issue that is a question or concern for them does not apply to our property at all. We have our own road, so it's not an issue of anything. We merely want to go from AF to AR without subdividing.
Thank you.
It's not totally, we know that he has, as I mentioned, he has highway frontage. It's not the idea of Mr. Harrington, we don't want two houses on that property. It's that we don't want it to snowball downhill on us interior. So his situation is uniquely different, and we're okay with him using his road out to 99 and never egressing on our roads and stuff. But that's not to say that Mr. Toller's not going to do it as soon as this is over. See what I'm saying? We don't have a problem really with two houses on our property. But I'm just saying, if somebody else interiorly decides to do it, then we got some serious problems. But unless they're going to pay the whole road. Or if the county was to take it, all these roads are private. I've been taking care of them for 12 years. So we're loaded as far as traffic. And if they start subdividing property in there and triple what we're taking on right now, the county's going to have to take them, or they're going to, whoever subdivides, they're going to have to pay them. That's what we're concerned about.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that any of us commissioners, if we have additional questions about legalities or something we should address to our county attorney, I would suggest that we just give him a buzz or call individually if he has an individual question.
This is still a comment. Yes, this is a comment. I do not know how the board will rule, but I do want to say welcome to the Harringtons and for coming to our community.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, any other comments on this item? Number 6, another rezoning, I'm sorry, number 7, rezoning for Edward Trutt, located at 1028 O'Flynn Drive, and the information is back in your packet as well. They want to go from AF to AR, agricultural residential. So just take a look in your packet if you know it, and let's go over it pretty closely so we can make our proper decision tomorrow night.
Okay, a general question for the attorney.
Yes, sir.
If you are able to answer the question, are any of these zoning issues that's before us also before the commission or the board that's looking at rezoning issues?
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry, I probably didn't hear part of it.
Are any of these issues in front of the CRC for possible change?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, sir. No, sir. No, the lot size in AF and AR are static. They're not up for change.
Okay, thank you.
Another comment? Item 8, consider contract for McIntosh County Healthcare Broker Services. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. This is a 3-year contract with Lighthouse Benefit Advisors for Service County Healthcare Broker. There have been 3 changes since the copy that I sent y'all on Friday. Two of them just deal with an Exhibit A, which is the copy of the original proposal, and an Exhibit B, which is a copy of the October 2020 United Healthcare deal. And then the final change from the one that we gave y'all on Friday is in paragraph 3, term of the agreement. And it's just, let's see, it's that last sentence that says, it is anticipated by the county that the terms contained herein will be reviewed for possible renegotiation. Well, it's still wrong, but I think you'll fix that. To be renegotiation at the end of the initial 3-year term. I think the most important part of this contract is the compensation, paragraph 5. So upon execution of the contract, the new healthcare broker will just take over the commissions that the current healthcare broker is receiving, which is 4% of our premiums. At that time, they would start reviewing our policy, and they come up with our plan design and try to implement that. I think it says in March of April. At that time, it would go to a $50 per employee cost, is what we would pay them for their services. Right now, we have $50.74 employees on our current plan. That would be $3,700 a month. And if you multiply that by 12, that'd be $44,400 a year for the broker. Our current broker receives 4% of our premiums. Our premiums are between 1.4 and 1.5 million. So you're looking at $56,000 to $60,000. So we do save some money initially on broker services. Once they do implement the new plan, we would base it on a per employee per month basis of $1,600. And anything they save, so if they get the plan down and they save us $200,000, they're entitled to 10% of those savings. So this is an incentive-based contract. The more they save us, the more they get paid. And then in paragraph 2 of the compensation, that cost per employee per month would just be would go up every year 6%, which is the national average right now.
And is this $50 per month, is it per employee? How does that affect the family?
It doesn't. It's just per employee.
Per employee?
Doesn't affect the dependents of the spouses. And that's the fee that the county pays the broker for their services. It doesn't come from the employee.
Right, yeah, I didn't know if that was per employee plus a wife.
No, just for the employee.
Any questions about the healthcare plan and the agreement?
Okay.
Get the trend, you talk about 6%, is the average going down. If that changes within that 3-year period downward,
For the 3-year period, it would have to stay at 6, but then if we go to renegotiate, we can renegotiate that.
that's
Any other comments regarding the agenda or what we're going to do tomorrow? Okay, if there's no other comment, I would like to adjourn the meeting.